Going through the news as I tend to do, and I come across this article. China's new Type 54 frigate exposes U.S. Navy's inertia. This caught my attention because another article had previously caught my attention regarding the U.S. Navy's Constellation class frigate. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we're going to get into this a little bit here. The Type 54 Zenkai class has several differences compared to its earlier one. Laid down in 2022 at the Hongdong shipyard, launched in 2023, having finished sea trials 2025 January, it's now in service. Why is this relevant? Well, as some of you know who follow the U.S. Navy, they've ordered the Constellation class frigate. They ordered this in August of 2022. Well, we just recently got news on the Constellation class frigate. I think it's appropriate that we put it in here. The USS Constellation is likely to be delayed 36 months, meaning a delivery now scheduled for April of 2029 timeframe. Laid down in 2022 at the Hongdong shipyard, launched in 2023, in service 2025. Ordered August 2022. Scheduled after almost indefinite delay. It has been delayed time after time after time until 2029 because Marriott Marine in Wisconsin is building the Littoral Combat Ship, which the U.S. Navy doesn't even want. They've actually begun decommissioning the Littoral Combat Ships. Yes, they're almost brand new, and they're being decommissioned almost immediately. The USS Auckland went to Auckland, New Zealand, to celebrate its commissioning, came home and was decommissioned. So besides China launching their new frigate in 3 years, just a couple weeks ago, they launched a brand new amphibious assault carrier that they've decided to turn into a new drone aircraft carrier. And then just a year ago, they launched their brand new super carrier, the equivalent of the Nimitz class carrier. They're stepping up their game. And apparently they can just churn out ships left and right while we're stuck in limbo, in addition to the ships that they're building. China's DF-17 hypersonic missile built to sink U.S. aircraft carriers. This goes through the DF-17 hypersonic missile. The DF-17 has demonstrated a high degree of accuracy in testing, with one U.S. government official saying that a test warhead within meters of its intended stationary target. That is important. Stationary target. U.S. defense officials have also said the DF-ZF-HGV performed extreme maneuvers and evasive actions in previous test flights. So you have a Mach 10 hypersonic glide vehicle capable of defensive maneuvers to evade incoming threats. And reportedly they have about 100 to 150 of these in service. These are road mobile, capable of being launched from these trucks with a range of 1,000 miles. More than enough to cover Taiwan. And again, this is coming in at Mach 10. There's very few ways to defeat Mach 10. Jamming, directed energy weapons, missiles, but you have to have a lot of warning before those missiles will be effective. This is an additional weapon the Chinese have against naval vessels. The DF-26 missile that could sink a United States aircraft carrier. This is about the DF-26. And this is the DF-26. Again, a road mobile, although not a hypersonic glide vehicle, this is a ballistic missile, and it's believed that they have at least 400 of these in service, with 200 mobile road launchers capable of reload, which means more than one shot. Even 25% of those get through. You have big trouble. Big trouble. Why is this relevant? We have defenses. The United States, in fighting the Houthi rebels, Navy fight in Red Sea used 220 missiles. According to McLean, the Navy fired 120 SM-2 missiles, 80 SM-6 missiles, 20 Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, and SM-3 missiles. The SM-2 missiles alone run $2 million apiece, while a newer SM-6, capable of knocking out other ballistic missiles in flight, are double, around $4 million apiece. The SM-3 missile, capable of striking targets in space, ranges from $9 to $28 million apiece. These figures do not include the number of Tomahawk cruise missiles that were used to strike Houthi locations in Yemen. While a precise cost of total munitions expended over 15 months is not known, even the new information is hard to arrive at. It's clear the U.S. Navy has expended well over $500 million in missiles. Whew. That's a lot of money. More importantly, that's a lot of missiles. 80 SM-6 missiles. Just how many SM-6 missiles do we have? Well, according to recent reports, the U.S. Navy aims to increase annual production of the Standard Missile 6 to 300 by 2028. As I researched this, currently our current production is between 125 to 150 missiles per year. Per year. In a 15-month period, we used a year's worth of SM-6 missiles. Well, not quite a year. What would that be? Over half a year. In 15 months, against the Houthi rebels. The Houthis. These are not the Chinese, who have far more effective weapons, far more of them, and have the ships to back them up. An additional issue. If only 10% of those missiles were to find targets, our replacement rate would be woefully wanting. This is an article from the Brookings Institute about strengthening America's defense industrial base. This first figure I bring to your attention is the number of weapons contractors for major weapons categories. Surface ships, 2 from 8 contractors. 2 from 8. I believe we have right now 4 shipyards that we currently use for shipbuilding. 4 in total, controlled by those 2 companies. The United States has a woeful lacking in shipbuilding capacity. It's staggeringly lacking. If our missile production capacity is merely what I just stated, 300 per year, in a war with China, we're out of ammo in a week. In a week. Our manufacturing base cannot replace those missiles alone. No less possible ship losses cannot replace those missiles in a year. Our ship replacement rate right now, the United States Navy, I believe, is at 2 ships per year being launched, or it was like 1.9 or some silly stat like that, where I believe the Chinese were at like 7. if it took 7 years, if it's going to take 7 years for us to get to our first frigate, it only took them 3. And that article I cited at the very beginning states that there are already 3 other hulls laid down in China for these frigates. So by the time we get our first, there's a possibility they have as many as 8. So what does that mean for getting our second one? They're going to have over a dozen to 2. This is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. This is a major problem. This is a major problem. And this is the other point I want to bring to this. The defense industry faces a shortage of skilled workers needed to meet production demands. Artillery is simpler to produce than advanced weapon systems. Certain subcontractor bases are weak. Surge capacity is limited. I would add here, very limited, and bottlenecks, sometimes hidden ones, can seriously constrict the nation's ability to build lots more weapons quickly in a time of conflict. Physical infrastructure has degraded over time. Has degraded greatly. Mare Island has become a museum. Other shipyards are literally just falling apart. The Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, I believe they just had the USS New Jersey in on its dry dock for refit, but that's it. That's it, baby. The United States retains dependencies on certain commodities, raw materials, and intermediate goods that come from nations or regions where access may not be secure during conflict. In fact, from 2019 to 2022, imports accounted for over half of U.S. apparent consumption of 49 non-fuel mineral commodities, with the United States being 100% import reliant for 15 of them. The figure below shows countries that the United States was over 50% reliant on for non-fuel mineral commodities. China was top supplier with 24 of these commodities. Can you see why Greenland now makes sense to the president? This is a big problem. We hear about needing to rebuild our military and needing to strengthen the United States. What we need to do is strengthen the United States where it matters, in our production capacity. In our production capacity. We need shipyards, we need aircraft manufacturing, we need missile manufacturing, we need vehicle manufacturing. Good American jobs for American citizens, building systems they hope will never be used. However, if we intend to compete on a level playing field, which is all we can ask for, is to be able to compete on a level playing field, then we need to do a lot of work and rebuild our defense industrial base. Their ability to produce missiles outstrips us 10 to 1. We don't even have a hypersonic missile in current service. By the end of the year, we are supposed to. But as this recording, January 28th, we do not. They have hundreds. And they're improving them. And there's new technology out there. There's technology that is going to change the game. It already exists. We've already seen it. We've already seen it. It's the Hypersonic missile.
Do you hear that?
The Hypersonic missile we saw in Russia. With the multiple re-entry vehicles, with multiple re-entry sub-munitions capable of high precision accuracy. Now you take one of these DF-26s or DF-17s, probably the 26, a DF-26, and you strap onto that multiple sub-munitions, guided sub-munitions. We've got trouble. We've got trouble. It's my hope that a lot of these words that you hear about rebuilding our defense go to the right place. They need to go to the right place. We need to rebuild our defense infrastructure, and it's my hope we do. Thank you for coming along and listening. I really do appreciate you.